Hey, this is the World Advice Channel too. What I want to talk about today is the topic of should gangster rap be banned? So when it comes to gangster rap, that specific subgenre of rap music, for this video I discuss should it be banned in a logical and clear way so anyone can understand it. So now that I mention that, let's get started. So when it comes to the topic of gangster rap, should gangster rap be banned? Well, the simple answer to the question is no. But at the same time, I will say this for certain though, they should definitely calm down on how much they talk about it, okay? Because they do talk about gang shit a lot in rap music nowadays, specifically. And they could definitely calm down on it. So aside from, of course, calming down on it, let's get to the first main point, okay? Which is, of course, why they shouldn't ban it. Well, the reason why they shouldn't ban it is the reason why um it is like anything related to the world. The world is supposed to document the good, and for anything, music is of course a form of entertainment, and it's specifically the best at capturing the mood of a situation. So the truth of the matter is, common sense would indicate that for you to do a good job telling a story, you have to talk about the negative, not just the positive, okay? Because if you just have a story where you just talk about the positive and not the negative, then that can just create problems, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, throughout history, especially recent history in the past few decades, we have already seen what the results are when you try to make music that's just meant to sound all happy and positive, okay? Just like listen to music from the 1970s, 1980s, specifically those two decades. All the songs you heard about just talked about positivity. Oh, everything's going to work out, everything goes well, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff, okay? It made life seem like a Brady Bunch episode. Very innocent, nice, and no matter how bad things get, everything some way, somehow works out, okay? But then the 1990s came across, and of course, that was the era of grunge music, which, even if it wasn't directly just related to grunge music, it changed music as a whole. It, for the first time, made it possible for people to start talking about, you know, the negative things about life, the things in life that sometimes in life, to be more specific, things don't work out. And all it did was just create a situation which we still haven't fully recovered from to this very day, where people just pretty much make music talking about negativity instead of positivity. Because the thing is, because music previous decades talked so much about positivity, it created of course, a situation where it created a counterculture. And sometimes the people who run countercultures, let's just be honest, are not always the most positivest, nicest of people out there, to be quite honest with you. And a lot of them just create a counterculture where they just want to hear about negativity. They want to hear about people talking about life sucks and this and that, and blah, 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 and all that type of stuff. And it just created a huge freaking issue. And we haven't fully recovered from it. It's not as bad as it was like in the 1990s, specifically for like rock music and even just in general music as a whole, but it's still kind of there, in honesty. And that's what, and how that of course relates to gangster rap, which of course everyone's going to be wondering what the fuck does that have to do with gangster rap, is that what I'm trying to prevent is I'm trying to prevent a situation where we have a left right paradigm, okay, where people say it's either where a left right paradigm is a term, that pretty much means it's either this way or that way, instead of having a balance between both of those exact things. And when you have one thing leaning in one way, the moment it goes the other way, it goes the complete opposite way. Just like I gave with the example of, if you just talk about positive, upbeat music all the time, then the moment people start talking about negativity, then it creates a cycle of where people just want to hear about negativity all the time, or whatever you like to say. Whatever the case in the matter is, the main point, all you hear about is negativity instead of a balance between positivity and negativity, okay? And I just feel like if we were to outright ban gangster rap music, I feel like all it's gonna really do, if we just talk about partying and all that sort of stuff, which, let's be honest, at this point, let's admit it, I think everyone pretty much likes at least a rap song out there. Even the people who say they don't like rap, I think they have rap songs they like. It's just that the thing is, the rap music that they like tends to be like the flow rider, type of rap music or something like that. you know, that type of rap music, okay? And the truth of the matter is, that type of rap music or just straight up pop rap like LMFAO, all that type of shit, But the truth of the matter is the problem, um, you know, with those ways of people thinking that, oh, why can't we just make rap music that's about positivity and all that type of stuff and not about negativity, is that the moment we just try to act like everything's all good all the time, the moment someone starts, of course, maybe making songs talking about gang shit and all that type of stuff, then it's just going to create a cycle where then, like, most of the music is just about gang shit. So the truth of the matter is, as we've already seen, that's how humans work throughout history, and just that's just also how record companies and stuff work, because then, you do something different, and of course, then everyone wants to be different, and then they just follow what's the latest trend, and then it just creates a cycle of then everyone's doing it, and it just creates, of course, a big problem, because of course, who just wants to hear music just talking about gang shit all the time? So what I'm trying to suggest here is that there has to be a balance, and a balance doesn't necessarily mean 50-50 percentage. Exactly. You can have a balance, but still talk about maybe, 70-75% of the time about stuff that doesn't relate to gangs and all that type of shit. Okay? Um, to be quite honest with you. Okay? But if you're just gonna act like 100% of the time it's positive, then the moment something fucking happens, to be quite blunt and honest with you, when it comes to some rapper who doesn't want to talk about itself, all it's going to do is just cause problems, and we're just going to go back to the issues we had in like the 1990s when it came to talking about rap music and all that type of shit. So we don't want to go back in time, when it comes to having the same topics we've had a long time ago. So obvious common sense would indicate, okay, maybe it's just best we just simply try to prevent any of this type of stuff from happening in the first place. All that matters is that people, when they talk about hood shit, they talk about it from the perspective of, this is what I moved on from and what I went through and how I got through it, instead of just making a whole career. Now, I have to admit, that's outdated. That's stupid, in all honesty. And that's outdated. But like when it comes to talking about, okay, I went through a hard time in the hood and this and that, and I had to go through all these struggles, it's just like saying, okay, oh, I'm someone who was this type of person. I once had an addiction to drugs and blah 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 blah, all that type of stuff, because you're talking about your life struggles. They can even make an album talking about their struggles being in a hood. But when if you just make a career out of it, then that's just kind of stupid, and that is the truth of the matter. So when it comes to my stance on it, so it has to be a balance. Okay, mostly yes, let's not talk about the hood that much, but at the same time, let's talk about it from a sense of what you went through. And of course, it gives a good background and makes your story more interesting, because, of course, you can hear the story of this person who's at the bottom, who's now actually at the top. So it makes it more interesting and intriguing, instead of just simply saying, okay, he was at the bottom the whole fucking time. I mean, or everything went for him well the whole time. So that's what I think about it, okay? Because at the end of the day, that is what makes a great story. Hearing people who come from the bottom to the top. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Instead of this bullshit about, let's just pretend everything's all perfect and everyone's in a good mood, everything's working out well. And that's actually one of the main reasons why disco failed, actually. Because the core audience, Black and Latino youth, specifically, of course, Black youth, weren't able to relate to it, in all honesty. And it just fell out of favor because the core audience couldn't relate to it anymore. Yes, white America fell out of favor with disco, but obviously the people who were listening to disco before it became mainstream were, of course, no surprise, blacks and Latinos, but and specifically, of course, black people. It fell out of favor because it just wasn't relatable. All they want to talk about is positivity, everything's working out well and this and that, until things in life don't work out that great. So, in short, the simple truth of the matter is gangster rap should not be banned. For anything in life, you have to talk about the negativity alongside the positivity. If you try to act like everything is perfect, everything is going well, it will only make things freaking worse. And just cause more problems and have discussions and issues let's just say we don't really want to have or anymore, in honesty. And even countercultures which used to exist, that especially in the modern world, let's just say you don't really want them to come back because it's not going to be a pleasant experience at all. And countercultures are meant to make you feel uncomfortable. It's meant to make you question everything. Let's please move on past that stage and let's think towards a freaking future and just simply do what is needed to prevent any of those situations from happening. So anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed it. And just remember, if you like this video, and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.